Hi, welcome Brightlights to Healers with Humor, a podcast brought to you by Candice, the visionary behind Indiglow Soul, and Shelly, the owner of Finding Your Light. Join us as we explore the intricacies of our healing experiences and share the wisdom we've accumulated along the way. In each episode, we're going to invite you into our intimate conversations where we candidly explore the highs and the lows of our healing experiences. Through our podcast, we want to extend our hands to those navigating their own path of healing, offering a sanctuary of understanding and companionship. Whether you're navigating through the shadows of self-doubt or reveling in the glow of self-discovery, Healers with Humor is there to honor the strength that it takes to heal and celebrate the joys of self-love and growth. Join us on this journey, embracing the beauty of healing and the power of community. Hello, Brightlights. I'm Shelly.
And I'm Candice.
And welcome to Healers with Humor, Season 1, Episode 7. The power of your words, thoughts, and intentions. Understanding the energy that you send out. Okay, I think this is going to be a deep topic today. So I'm going to share a quote of the day. It came from a Pinterest page, Faith, Hope, and Joy. With the power of well-chosen words, we are able to show love, inspire, encourage, uplift, change someone's mind or opinion. But with poorly chosen words, we can tear down, discourage, offend, and hurt. So choose your words well. I think that we've both learned a lot about the power of words, thoughts, and intentions.
Yeah.
And more importantly, the energy that we send out. So with having, giving folks an understanding of the awareness of their own energy, let's start talking about some examples.
Yeah. So I really had to think about when, for me, the first time, and this probably wasn't the first time, but it came up for me around how someone pointed out to me that my words and intentions were impacting others in a negative way. So in my late 20s, my boss at the time was giving me my year-end review, providing me feedback. And they shared that some of my coworkers had shared with them that they didn't like working with me and that they found me to have a superior and condescending attitude. Yet, yeah. But in the next breath, congratulated me on my promotion. Wait, what is happening? And so, again, I couldn't spend much time. We just talked about being in the present moment. I couldn't spend much time celebrating that promotion because I was devastated that I had made other people feel bad or, used a tone of voice that, wasn't friendly. So even back then, I really took the time to understand what my behavior was and did my best to correct it. And so I really spent a lot of time understanding my tone of voice when I was getting frustrated, why I was frustrated, how I could communicate better. And that probably shifted into a little bit of people pleasing. That's probably for another episode. And so that's an example of how it was brought to my attention that I was impacting people. But as an energy healer, I see it all day long, right? So when I do energy healing sessions and I work in the modality of body code, we have what we call offensive energies. And those can really be, they can be entities, right? Where just negative energy is being brought towards us. It can be curses. It can be, someone saying something that impacts you physically. We're going to talk more about this later, but it's important for people to understand that our words and our intentions have impacts on other people. I don't think we always understand that in this society. And, we really, for me, I'll say that bringing things back to a high vibration, specifically the concept or emotion of love, like you talked about at the very beginning, right? And when we're using our words in a loving way and we have a loving intention, even if we're providing feedback that isn't comfortable, if we provide it in a loving way, we are going to be better off than when we're trying to bring in the negative energies of, curses and spells and entities and tearing down people. Everyone in this world is going through something. And so having as much compassion and love for people as you can is important for me.
Yeah, I think that's huge too. I definitely know that my viewpoint on how I see others, how I want them to feel is very different since working on my own healing journey and having more curiosity and compassion for other people.
Yes.
As opposed to things like judgment or, the ego wanting to kind of strike back when someone says something that's hurtful.
Yes. What are some of your experiences that you've had with, how powerful words and thoughts and intentions are?
Yeah, one of the things that impacted me the most was working as an energy healer. I was actually clearing a friend's business, and after cleansing and clearing the space, because we were doing it at the end of the year, coming into the new year, we really wanted to bring in her intentions. And frankly, this was one of the first times that I had included this in a house cleansing and clearing. And we particularly did it because it was a business. And I had told her that she could write it out and say it to herself or say it out loud, but that my job was to really bring it in and send it out to the space. The first room was, nothing to note. The second room, completely different. I actually felt almost like a breeze coming into the room. And I actually leaned back a little bit and I just looked at her and I said, I have no idea what you're saying, but something that you said in this second room is far more impactful than this first room. And I said, what did you do differently? She said, I didn't read from the paper. I spoke from my heart.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, that was eye-opening, right? So many times that we either say, loving things or unloving things, and we can't fully appreciate the energy behind that. But in that moment, I could actually feel the energy behind what she wanted to bring into her clients, to the space. And it was such a good lesson for me, right?
Yeah.
Your words have impact. Your thoughts have impact. And what we say about ourselves and what we say about our others that no one else hears is still really important.
Yeah. So when we talk about, right, these offensive energies, they, from an energy perspective, right, you are seeing it as filling up a space with good intentions, right? So that the energy for that person's business was good for the year going forward. When I'm working with clients, I have, curses that show up all the time and they're, from all different ages. And so just some quick examples of what that might look like, because it's not, we're going to talk about how to protect your energy in a little bit too, but this isn't to scare anybody or to, it's an awareness so that, when you're talking, to your friend or you're talking, to a coworker and you're like, oh, so-and-so is such a pain in the neck. That's a curse. Right? That person potentially could wake up with a headache the next day. Or if you're in a meeting and you think to yourself, oh my God, if this person doesn't stop talking, I'm going to lose my mind. That's a curse on their throat. Right? They could have, they could show up with a strep throat or a sore throat the next day. So our words have physical implications on our own bodies, right? How we actually are talking to ourselves about ourselves, but for other people too.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up. I think, when people hear curses, entities, and I'll throw spells in there,
Mhm.
I think it's things that we think happen in movies.
Yeah.
I don't think that we realize that it's during conversations,
Mhm.
groups getting together. The word that came to mind is during an argument,
Mm.
right? The
Mhm.
energy that we have of frustration or anger.
Mhm.
And so I kind of put, I'll say all of those together. And one of the instances that happened, you know this because you worked on my throat, was being in a classroom environment. It was a networking group meeting. And I actually ended up with issues in my throat. And
Mhm.
what we worked through was understanding that someone was frustrated by my comments and questions.
Mhm.
And and therefore that put a curse on my throat.
Mhm.
And when you think about us not wanting someone to talk
Mhm.
or not liking another person's opinion or what they have to say, we're actually doing a couple things, right? We're stopping them from using their voice,
Yep.
from communicating what they need and want, their
Mhm.
personal power, and thinking about the places within their body that happens, right? The
Mhm.
throat, the mouth,
Mhm.
the throat chakra,
Yep.
the solar plexus. And
Mhm.
so all of those things, as we worked through that situation for me, and certainly, by the way, I'm not picking on the person who said that about me because I've said it to about plenty of
Right.
people,
We
right?
don't even know we're doing it. That's the
Don't
thing. It's
even,
really unintentional.
right. And so, I think what it really boils down to is, again, that awareness, realizing that when someone asks questions or is curious about something, really to be compassionate, right? They're asking for
Mhm.
what they want and need.
Yeah.
And we all want and need different things.
Mhm.
And so just being understanding of that, I think, is huge.
Yeah.
You've already mentioned a couple things that you've seen as a healer, right? And
Mhm.
certainly you've been more than helpful working on me, particularly in that situation with the
Yep.
throat. But what other experiences have you had with clients in session that really confirms the power of intentions, thoughts, and words?
So again, it's going back to the curses, but we also have an energy called the saboteur
Mm.
energy. And that's exactly what it sounds like, right? It's someone who is more intentional about their actions and, whether they're creating a physical symptom, whether they're creating, it's a control mechanism. I'll actually speak a little bit more personally to this because I have a lot of, or I used to have a lot of headaches. And especially at the very, very beginning of my spiritual awakening, I would get these occipital headaches. So in the back of your neck, you have 12 occipital inputs. Six, I'm sorry, you have 12 on each side, 12 on the left and 12 on the right. And these headaches were debilitating. Like I would wake up and want to throw up. They were so bad. And what I had to understand is that there was saboteur energy, right, about controlling what I looked at.
Mm.
So in the occipital, right, it's controlling my neck. It's controlling, oh, don't look over here to the right. Oh, don't look over to the left. You can only look forward because you don't want to see what's happening. I'm not going to allow you to see what's happening to the left or the right. And that really played into a lot of my repressed memories, right? And someone was trying to control what I saw. And so through the energy work, I've been able to really, release all of that. But even just this week, I woke up overnight with it was just one little place in the occipital, but there were actually what energetical cords, which is another way of people connecting into your energy, whether they need something from you or they're trying to take something from you. And again, that was about control, about, don't look, you can't see what we're doing. Yeah. Other people have an impact on our energy. And I think it's important. for us to know that. And then again, we're going to talk about how we protect our energy going forward.
Yeah, you gave the example about yourself. And I think when I work on clients, you can always tell, I usually see it in the throat chakra, how someone talks about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And a real eye-opening moment for myself one day was I tend to use a pendulum to clear energy.
Mhm.
And one of the thoughts that came to me was, oh, I should probably clear all the negative thoughts I've had about myself.
Mm.
And I kind of grouped a couple things together, right? About how I, performed in life, physically, where I had gotten to. And I just kind of said, let's remove anything that was negative, not representing self-love.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to lie, I think my pendulum went for 20 minutes. And I think it's the most that you usually write things are 2 to 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
My pendulum swings in a circle. It goes faster or harder when there's more.
Mm-hmm.
And this thing whipped for about 20 minutes. So what I did learn in that experience, though, was one confirmation that my body had been storing
Mm-hmm.
all of that energy, right? That my words and my thoughts had an effect on my body.
Mm-hmm.
It was great that I was able to release it, but also the realization of how, I've certainly worked to remove other people's energy and taking away personal power, but how much I had actually taken away my own personal power and not been a safe place for myself.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably been one of the most interesting, I'll say, energy removals that I've done on myself personally.
Yeah.
And so I would highly recommend it for anyone, but it was such an interesting exercise. And it definitely made me want to stop in my tracks
Mm-hmm.
moving forward when I had similar thoughts.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and you walked me through that exercise for myself. And I wasn't looking at a clock, but I'm guessing it was, it was a bit. We do tend to have this really negative voice, right? That kind of talks at us all day long. And you talked about ego earlier. That's one of the big voices that, that talks to us and wants us to stay the same and doesn't really want us to evolve. They think that, the ego thinks that it's by not changing, we're staying safe because we know exactly what to expect right now, right? And in reality, right, we're supposed to change and evolve to make ourselves, better as humans and, just evolve in this world. And so really understanding the concept of how loud the ego is, and then that intuition piece, right? Where it's that little whisper before the ego connects in. So if people are wondering, like, how do I listen to my intuition? And, that voice that's hammering me all day long about how, I didn't do well in the meeting or, the presentation I did was bad or, all of those things. You just have to, again, we talked about living in the present, right? You've got to just stop and say, thank you, ego. I know you're trying to keep me safe. I know you're trying to, do all these things. I appreciate you. And I'm no longer going to allow you to have that conversation with me so that you can stop it and then wait for those silent moments to have that intuition kind of drop in and be like, you did a good job.
Well, and the other thing is we all make mistakes, right?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
And that's how we learn. So when we beat ourselves up, we make it hard for us to learn other things.
Yes.
Yeah, we should definitely talk about, I think, the ego a little bit more. We'll decide how our egos will have to decide how we want to talk about that, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about, there's lots of, I'll say, traditional ways that people hear, the power of your words. Law of attraction, manifesting, vision boards. And then we've talked about, how your body speaks in different ways that you can tap into your body.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the, I'll say, ways that you like to use your words, your thoughts, and your intentions?
So I've tried the vision board thing. I mean, for me, it's fine. To me, that's a little bit of future forecasting. So though I don't place a lot of stock in them. I like them. It's a fun activity. Law of attraction is probably what I use the most. So I really try to keep my vibration as high as it can be. And again, is this perfect every day? By no stretch. You asked when we first came on this afternoon before we started recording, we both asked each other how we were doing. And I was like, I feel like I'm more irritable than I normally am. And you're like, well, why? I was like, well, I haven't been sleeping great. Well, why haven't I been sleeping great? Because I'm getting up in the middle of the night to clear energy.
Others people's or your own?
Both. And so when you're tired, right, you're more irritable. I mean, you're more irritable, you're more susceptible to, having that negative conversation in your brain or being, snippy, right, with somebody else, not having as much compassion. So again, you talked about taking a step back, taking that moment, take that pause. Why am I sad in the middle of this movie? And our conversation allowed me to be like, yeah, so I didn't have a good night's sleep. It's no need for me to be like irritable and grouchy, right? To anybody, including myself. So law of attraction is a big one, right? We are attracting what we're giving out. And so if I'm irritable, that's what I'm going to get back. Manifesting is another big one, right? We talk a lot about how we manifest, and a lot of people use the moon cycles, and other people just do it whenever, and that's totally fine. But you have to manifest in a high vibration, right? And you've got to be, when you're manifesting, you have to believe that it's already happened. And so you can't manifest something that you're not believing will actually happen. So again, kind of keeping that vibration high and understanding that what you ask for, you're going to bring towards you, and to be really careful about what that is. Because you can say, just trying to think of a quick example. For some reason, the love of my life, bring me the love of my life, right? That's coming in. That's what I want to manifest. But if you don't say, have that person be compassionate and loving, and have them, be, someone who's in touch with their own feelings, and, all of these other things, they could bring you someone that might be the love of your life, but that they don't check all of the other boxes because you weren't specific in your manifestation, right? So be careful of your words and what you're actually asking for.
Well, and the space that you're in, right, is what is attracted.
Mm-hmm.
The vibration that you're at is the vibration that you're attracting.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I think a lot of that, what you just said, was awareness of your mood, right?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of then contributes to your words. But I also kind of heard that self-love worthy piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
Am I worthy for what I'm trying to bring in?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of giggled when you said the vision board, because I once made a vision board and I was really excited, and then I hid it, because of what I realized is I actually I put it in
This
a
is
closet.
going in the back of the closet.
I put it in a closet for a while and put it behind a door. And now I don't know if that actually stops what I was trying to bring in, but
Well,
what I did realize in that exercise is that I wasn't in a place that I was ready to accept all that I was asking for. And so that is a good reminder of believing, that you're worthy of it, that those things, come in the right timing. There's a number of things to it, but anytime anybody says vision board to me, I just laugh, because I'm one of the people that, hid mine. And I don't know, I don't know if everybody does that at some point, or they just go right for it. For me, I think, you brought up manifesting, and I think that one of the most interesting things that I've been exploring is that I believe we each manifest very differently. I'm not saying that people can't use the same techniques, but I think understanding, which moons that you work with, what it is that you're here to learn. So one of the things that is important for me to manifest, I truly believe, is trust. It's one of the hardest things for me to do. And so when I don't know what I want, trusting, divine timing, trusting my team and the universe, trusting that what is for me will come in. I think that we each have a handful of ways in which manifestation works for each one of us.
Yeah.
And so I do think it's worthwhile, right, to understand when you have manifested something, what did you try? What did you do? Right? Did you have an altar with, candles and crystals and flowers? Did you have a vision board? Were you just very clear about what you wanted? Did you believe without a shadow of a doubt, this is where I'm supposed to go? This is what I'm supposed to do. And I think understanding, on past examples as well as, ones that you're working on, I think that's so important. Because I do think one of the things that I know that I've been asked to do on the few things that I'm manifesting is to really write out how I want to feel there.
Yes.
So maybe it's a home and I don't know where it is and I don't know what size it is and I don't know what color it is, but how I want to feel in that place, how I want to feel inside that home.
Yep.
What are the things that I want to bring into that next home? And so one of the really awesome techniques that someone shared with me was not trying to get into the details, but how you wanted to feel. And I love that.
Oh my God, how do we not get into the details, Shelly? I want it to be so many square feet and I want it to be yellow. I'm making things up.
Yeah, but
for two people who are so detail oriented, shifting from the detail to the feeling, that's huge.
Yeah. And I'll tell you why I love that, because the person that I am and the person that I've become are very different. But I wouldn't dream big before. I really used to, and I think I've said it in one of the other episodes, I used to laugh at people that really dreamed big. Like people that would dream beyond what it was that they were currently doing. And I just didn't understand with that. I couldn't jive with that. And now the way that I look at it is I know that's hard for me to ask for crazy stuff, but maybe crazy stuff is for me.
Yeah.
So if I knew the details, right? Shelly might just ask for, I don't know, a 1,500 square foot house, but maybe I get an 1,800 square foot house, whatever that is.
Yeah.
It can be bigger than I would have asked for.
Yeah.
And so, right, that's where that trust piece comes in. That's where not being down into the details and the type A personality.
I know.
But it's hard. It's hard.
It sure is. Well, and that's the other thing I always like to add at the end of a manifestation is something like, that or better, right? Or whatever I've asked for, or, and more, or, so it's not closed off, right? If I haven't thought about something. But yeah, getting out of those details and, allowing yourself to do those dreams, dream big, that's how we move forward in life. We talked about on, one of our last episodes about being in the present. There is time. There is a time and place to think about the future and to dream big and to be in the present moment. Right. So yeah, that's amazing. I love all of that.
Yeah. So for the audience, we'd love to hear how you have understood the power of your words, thoughts, and intentions. And maybe even what your tips are for manifesting.
Yeah, drop a comment. We'd love to hear from you. All right. Well, thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. As we conclude this episode of Healers with Humor, we want to express our deepest gratitude to you, fellow Brightlights. Thank you for joining us on this heartfelt exploration. Our journey began with a chance encounter at an expo. Two souls seeking healing and connection Through shared experiences, laughter, and tears, we've forged a bond rooted in trust, love, and the relentless pursuit of growth. We invite you to continue this journey with us by sharing your own healing stories and connecting with us. Your presence in our community enriches our collective healing experience, and we're honored to walk alongside you. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll explore topics that resonate with the soul, offering insights, guidance, and inspiration along the way. Until then, remember, you are not alone on your healing journey. Thank you for tuning in, and may your path be illuminated with love, courage, and endless possibilities.